Good morning. Okay, I'm just making sure I am live on my page. Uh, there I go. Okay. Um, so today I want to talk about this is kind of like a universal law of sorts, like a kind of a mystical alchemy law that I've used in my own personal life, and I sometimes teach clients that shifts our perspective into essentially entering possibilities. Um, and so when you embody this law, when you start figuring out how to use it, everything becomes easier and doors starts opening. I see somebody saying hello to me, hashtag live. If you want, if you click up above me, there should be a thing that says going live with StreamYard. And if you click on that, you'll essentially allow StreamYard to let me know who you are so that I can see who you are. So it just says Facebook user, but thank you for being here and hi back. And I'll go back after and check who that is and say hi for real with your name. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa Come To You Dare. Hey, Angelita. Nice to see you. Thanks for being live with me. Ilsa Come To You There. I work with mainly healers, transformational coaches who feel kind of stuck, overwhelmed, who feel like everything they're doing is not working. They know they have a huge amount to offer, but they don't have enough clients. Or their business has gotten stuck at some point and they're not enjoying it and it's not as easy as they think and know it could be. And so I help them with visibility. I help them both with the energetic inner work of not hiding out and becoming visible, and also the organic marketing type stuff to actually increase your reach, increase your engagement, and connect you to new clients so that they can have the impact, you can have the impact, make the money that you know you want to make, and have the ease and joy in your business. Because as I like to say, if you're not enjoying it, if it's not fun, then it's not success. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this law. This was a major shift for me in my own work. And so to give you a little background, I'm a therapist, I'm a business coach, but I'm also a long-term mystic in some ways. I started meditating when I was maybe 10, 11 years old. I was that weird kid who was meditating in the yard rather than playing, or reading Buddhist books and meditation books rather than reading kids' books or young adult books. And so this has been kind of a passion of mine, is to understand how the world works. And for a long time, a lot of my practice, a lot of my work was more geared towards spirituality. And then as I grew my practice and as I started really wanting to share my gifts and put myself out there, then I started learning about how to do that. I started learning about marketing. I started learning about having an irresistible offer that people understand, because if people don't get what you're doing, then you're not going to sell it. They're not going to get the value of it. And I started marrying the two. And so if if you've been with me for a while, if you've listened to a lot of these lives, you'll often hear me say that for me, energy and strategy are the two wings of a bird. You need both to soar. You need both to take off, and you need both to soar and thrive. And so this is more on the energetic aspect. But there's some strategy in there, because in some ways, without the right energy, you literally cannot do the strategy correctly. You can't embody the strategy, or the strategy won't work, or you'll be picking the wrong strategy because your energy is off. So this is more the energy aspect of it. And this is kind of on the mystical side of it. So this law that I'm talking about, sometimes it's referred to as the law of polarity. But the way I look at it is that everything in the universe emerges whole. Everything in the universe emerges complete. So almost like two sides of a coin. You can't have a coin without both sides. And oftentimes, what happens in life is that we're focused on one side and we're not paying attention to the fact that if one side exists, then the opposite side must automatically exist with it. So each opposite brings the other. And part of wholeness, part of finding your way, is actually being able to reconcile the two and find that middle ground, find that middle path that looks at both. What happens, I think, as human beings is we're often in one or we're in the other. And so part of the trick is to, when you're in one and you don't enjoy your experience there, then be able to know that the other exists and look for the other. And at some point, when you're playing that dance with going back and forth, and you see that a lot, like I'm going to talk about business, obviously, because that tends to be what I talk about, right? But you see that a lot with people making good money one month and then no money the next, or getting new clients one month, no clients the next. You see that with mental health. Somebody feeling really great one day and feeling anxious and depressed, the next, or really good for a little while and then not good at all. And so we're going from one extreme to the other rather than finding that middle ground. And so a lot of this law is when you're in a place that does not feel good for you, being able to know and own that the opposite actually already exists. It literally must exist because everything in the universe comes up whole, comes up complete. And being able to essentially shift from I'm here and I want to be here. So rather than focusing on being here, I'm actually going to start moving my attention, my awareness, my heart, my knowing towards what I want. And you see a lot of that spoken in subtle forms in like the law of attraction and magic and these different things about being able to essentially focus on what we want, what they don't, and the idea that it's already there in some ways. And essentially the law of polarity will say it's already there because you're experiencing its opposite. So if you're experiencing one thing, you know that its opposite is already there. If you're cold, then hot, or the idea of hot, must exist. If you're young, then the idea of old is already existing within that. Another example I use often is that the antidote is usually inside the poison. So when you have a poison, its antidote exists, and it oftentimes exists within the poison. So the opposite is always available. The opposite emerges with whatever circumstance you're in. So where that's important for us as humans is when you find yourself in a circumstance, is to know that that's not the only option. And rather than staying stuck in that and indulging in that and essentially feeding what you don't want, is an ability to start owning, claiming, believing, and looking for the opposite of what you're experiencing. So just know that when a problem arises, its solution automatically arose with it. They come together like twins. You can't have one without the other. And because we're not in tune with our own wholeness, we're not in tune with our own intuitive genius in some way, we tend to focus on what we don't want. We tend to focus on the problem rather than the moment the problem arises, start looking for the solution and know that the solution is there. It's available. So I'm going to take you through a process on kind of how to do that. And oftentimes, this law of polarity, this owning that the opposite emerges with the problem, is essentially an energetic shift. It's an energetic shift and a movement of perspective, which, by the way, is a lot easier said than done. Because when you're in pain, when you're in struggle, when you're in constriction, it's not always super easy to move your attention, move your awareness, move your heart towards expansion. But essentially, that's what we need to do. So if the problem, for example, is, I'm going to use what I do for a living, right? If the problem is, I don't have enough clients, then the solution, more than enough clients, already exist. They came together. But we're focusing on not having enough clients. We're focusing on doing more of the same and essentially being stuck in the energy of not having enough clients. And rather than owning the fact that it's opposite, clients that are just right for us, more than enough clients actually already exist within our circumstance. And I see that all the time with people who come see me, and they'll say to me, Ilsa, I'm coming to see you because I want more clients, because I want to fill my programs, because I have so much to offer. And I don't have anyone in my audience. I don't have anyone in my environment that is an ideal client. That thought is actually part of the problem. The solution, the expansion thought is, if I have a problem, its opposite is already here, which means my clients are already here. They're already in my midst. They're already in my environment. And I need to shift my energy. I need to shift my perspective. I need to shift how I speak, how I relate, what I do to own that that's a truth and it's out there. And oftentimes that's one of the first things I do with people is try to get them to consider that maybe that's not true. Maybe their clients are already here. They don't even have to go out there to go get them. Sometimes they will, right? And we'll work on all of that. But it's a shift of going from the thought and the belief that's keeping you stuck and that's keeping you on one side of the polarity into shifting your beliefs and your thought towards the opposite side of the polarity. And that you can use this for everything. Health is already here. Your soulmate is already here. The moment that you start actually believing this, owning this, looking for this, rewiring your brain and your paradigm for this, then everything rearranges itself. So, the first step, and so now I'm going to talk about the steps. I'm looking at my notes, making sure I'm not forgetting anything, but I feel like, by the way, this is an aspect of alchemy, right? Like the transforming of dense into expansion, the transforming of lead into gold, and essentially knowing that everything can be transformed into what we want in it, and what we want already exists within this. So here are the steps. The first step is awareness. So there's a couple ways that I mean this. Obviously, you need to be aware where you're stuck. You need to be aware that you're stuck. Like if you don't know that you're stuck, then you can't look for a solution, right? But most of us know when we're stuck that we're stuck. What I mean by awareness is you have to be aware that the solution already exists, and you have to believe that. You have to essentially know that everything emerges whole, everything emerges complete, which means if you're stuck in one area, then its opposite is already here, and you're just not seeing it. Kind of like not seeing a door that's here, it's hidden because you're not looking for it. That awareness, that knowing that the solution is already here starts to shift something both in the wiring of your brain and in kind of the wiring of life in some ways, where the doors start to appear. So you have to essentially know that what you desire is not only possible, it's already in your experience in some ways, but you're not quite seeing it yet. The moment you become aware of that, oh, it's already here, but I'm not seeing it, something within you starts looking for it. Almost like you go to a party and your friend tells you, hey, I'm here, but you're not seeing her or him. The moment you know that they're here, you start looking for them. And it's like your eyes know what they're looking for. And suddenly it's like the moment you see their shape, the moment you see their clothes, the moment you see something, it zeroes in on it. Like you can actually grasp it because you're looking for it. That's the thing, guys. We can't see what we're not looking for. So if you believe that the solution is not available, hey, Raylan, if you believe that the solution is not available, you're not going to see it. So that's the first step, is you have to be aware that if a problem arises, its opposites, its solution, automatically is already here within your experience. And the moment you know it's here and you start looking for it, it will start to materialize. You will start seeing it. You will start seeing things you actually didn't know were here and you were blind to before. So that's actually number two. First, you have to be aware. Number two is you have to actively shift your perspective to look for what it is that you seek. Look for the possibility. Be open to possibility. Tell your mind, tell your brain to look for the possibility. Look for what it is that you want. Create it, figure it out. When I'm in a situation like that where I'm stuck, I'll literally say to myself, I know the solution is here, I'm just not seeing it. I'm not downloading it. And I'll go to bed every night with a question. How do I fix this? Whatever it is. How do I fix this? I know I can. I know it's here. I know it's available. Give it to me. I'll wake up in the morning and that will be where my mind goes. Hey, today I want a solution. I want a way to figure this out. I know it's here. I know the solution is here. Give me the eyes. Help me see it. I'll journal about it. Essentially, I'll put my focus towards figuring out what it is that I want or need. And oftentimes it shows up. It shows up that day. It shows up a couple days later. Sometimes it shows up literally as a conversation I'm having. It shows up as an offer I see in my email. It shows up in a download. It shows up half the time in something I'm going to tell a client. Like I'll be telling it for them, and in the moment of saying it, I'll know that I just said something that's equally for me as much as it is for them. I didn't know I knew. I didn't know where it came. I don't know where it came from, but it came from, and it's for them and it's for me. So number 2 is to shift your focus and to start asking, to start telling your mind, this is what I need, this is what I want, make it happen, figure it out. The mind, and I said this, I think maybe in the last live I did, the mind is a creation machine. The mind creates your reality. You literally tell it what you want to see, what you want to experience. And essentially your thoughts are almost like a computer programming. Your thoughts are what you're inputting in there, in the programming of it. And so when you're looking for a solution, when you're looking for something, and you tell your mind, it's here, find it, look for it, figure it out, it actually gets to work. That's what the mind really is. The mind is a problem-fixing machine, which is why it's always looking for worst-case scenario and warning you, because its job is to keep you safe and its job is to fix things. The problem is it's often fixing shit that's actually not a problem. Our job is to instruct it correctly. Our job is to literally let it know what to look for and what to focus on so that it can serve us rather than essentially be ruling us. So that's number 2, is to start really focusing on solution. Let go of the problem. Know that if the problem is here, the solution automatically arose with it, that there are 2 sides of that same coin, and start telling your mind what it is that you want, what it is that you need, and that the solution is there and to look for it, to create it, to see it. And that's when suddenly you start seeing opportunities. The next client shows up. You start saying the right thing, the next right step appears. And you start seeing things that maybe you hadn't seen before, or things that you didn't know were possible. So you have to tell your soul, you have to tell your intuition that you know the solution is here, and you know you're ready for it, you're available for it. Because it's not just about the solution being here, it's about being willing to be available and ready and open to it, right? And that you want it now, you want access to it, you're ready for it, you're welcoming it. And then look for it. Start paying attention to it. Start being in the vibration of that solution, of freedom, of expansion, of abundance, of more clients, of better health, of a relationship, whatever it is that you're wanting to create in your life. And number 3, this is the last step, is take action. You would be surprised how many of us say we want a solution, and when it shows up, we back off. We get scared. We don't feel ready. It feels scary. The timing's off. It's uncomfortable. A number of different things. I do it all the time. My clients do it all the time. Welcome to being human. Welcome to being an entrepreneur. This is the thing that is fascinating to me about lighthouses, like healers, transformational coaches, intuitives, wisdom teachers, is we know that we have a gift to share. We know that we're here for a purpose and that we have so much to give, but we're also extremely sensitive. And so there's this tug of war between us, between being bright, being visible, serving, and hiding. And that's something, honestly, at least for me, it hasn't completely gone away. I'm always moving back and forth with it, except that I always step slowly. I step further and further into owning myself, owning my authenticity, owning my gift, and stepping into service, because that's what it is. Visibility is service. Looking for solutions, looking for ways to step out of wherever we're stuck or tight is service. It's service to ourselves, to our soul, but it is also service to the people we're meant to impact into the world. So, number 3 is take action, because a lot of the things that happen is when the possibility arises, when an opportunity shows up, you have to be courageous enough to say yes. And I'm speaking from myself and from my own experience, as well as so many others. I'm reading something. By the way, I'm going live on my phone, which is why I have to get forward to read the comment. Somebody says, this is so great, really needed to hear this today. I'm glad. Then I'm glad I'm going live. For all I know, I did it just for you. This is alignment, right? Is, like I said, when we serve for ourselves. This is doing something for me. I'm stepping into something. I'm showing up courageously, and I'm also doing it for you. So yeah, when the opportunity shows up, be willing to stretch. Be willing to say yes. And this is the shit about life, in all fairness. I feel like life is always testing us a little bit, where, it's like we're saying, hey, I'm ready for the solution. I'm ready for the opportunity. I'm ready for the opposite of where I'm at. I'm ready for expansion, for growth. And then life says, all right, let's see if that's true. Here's your next step. Are you going to take it? And it's very often not all that comfortable. You get an opportunity to speak at some kind of convention or some kind of summit or something, and you got to figure out if you're ready for it. You end up on a call with a client, and for whatever reason, you feel a little intimidated, and you've got to figure out, shit, it's time for me to invite this person to work with me. Am I going to make that invitation or not? Am I going to name my old price, or am I going to name my new price? And it's always a choice. It's always a choice that life is giving us in terms of, you said you wanted expansion, you wanted growth. Let's see. Are you really going, hey, Tracy, I'm glad it was for you. I'm glad it was for you. So are you going to say yes? Are you going to step up even though it's scary? Are you going to step up even though you don't feel quite ready? Are you going to step up even though when you said you wanted a solution, you were thinking of something like this, but it gave you something like this? And I don't know. Sometimes I say no. I'll be fully honest. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I want a solution. I wanted the smaller version of that. I'm not quite ready for that. And then I feel bad that I did that. But I also honor that something in me wasn't quite ready. I honor that something in me felt afraid in that moment, and I don't beat myself up. It's information. It's something I can tell myself, okay, I wasn't ready for that much expansion that quickly. That's okay. I'll work myself up to it. I might apologize to the part of me that was ready for it. I might apologize for the part of me that was too scared and let her know it's okay that she couldn't say yes. And then I figure out what I can say yes to. I figure out how to move forward. So that's number 3, is when you start looking for solution, when you start owning that the solution is here and that it is available, it will pop up for you. And you have to be able to say yes. And that can be a new client. That can be a speaking engagement. That can be an offer to work with someone, but the finance, the timing's not right money-wise. Know that doesn't mean it's not good. It just means that you're being stretched. And this is what I will tell you, that I work a lot with that with people. Find out what a yes or a no feels like in your body from a place of empowerment. Just because something feels scary doesn't mean it's a no. oftentimes when you get a solution and it's scary, you will still know if it's a yes for you. Something will still feel right, even though the timing might not be quite right or the way might not be quite right. But something in you knows this is it. This is my answer. This is my solution. So be willing to let go of the problem and step into that solution to the best of your ability. Because what we focus on grows. I didn't come up with that. Everybody knows that if you're in any kind of energetic work. What we focus on grows. You focus on the problem grows. You focus on constriction gets tighter, essentially increases, intensifies. When you're where you don't want to be, focus on what you want, focus on the solution, focus on expansion, and that's what grows. And then act into that, and then you grow it even more. So, be aware of any resistance that comes up. Be aware that you might be resisting solution. Be aware of where you're hiding out, where you're in resistance to success. One of the most powerful questions I ever asked myself, and I will often ask clients, is why would it be a bad idea for you to succeed? And it sounds like a stupid question because everyone wants success, except oftentimes when I've asked myself that, I've got an answer. Because if I succeed and people see me, I might get people who say mean things because, it might put strain on my relationship, because I might not have the energy for it. I might get overwhelmed. There is all sorts of reasons, especially when you're a sensitive being, which a lot of healers, a lot of transformational coaches and service-based providers are. We're sensitive. There's a lot of place where us as sensitive beings are in resistance to success, which means we want something and yet we're afraid to get it. So my invitation to you is be aware of that. Be aware that when a solution, an answer, an opportunity presents itself, and there's almost like you're taking your foot off the gas and maybe even pushing your foot on the brake, knowing that, this is something within me that's afraid of succeeding. This is something in me that's afraid that it's going to be too much, or that I'm going to open myself up for criticism or judgment or whatever else. A lot of us have what I call the witch wound in us. The idea that if we're fully ourselves, if we fully come out of there, if we come out of hiding, that there's a cost. There's a cost to it. There's a cost to it tangibly, or on our energy, or on our relationships. There's a cost in some ways. So being able to own that resistance so that you can expand through it and out of it. I'm looking. I think this is essentially what I have. So this is the law, right? The law of polarity. Everything emerges within life whole and complete. And oftentimes when we are in one extreme or the other, what life wants is balance. And essentially when you're talking about business growth, a lot of the time it is about balance. When we're stuck in I have no clients, obviously what we want is its opposite. Or in your case, if you're stuck here and I have no clients, what you want, it's the opposite, is I want clients. I want more than enough clients. But the truth is, in life, what we want is balance. Not too much, not too little, just right. A place that feels energetically aligned with us, that feels sustainable, that feels good, and that feels like it can grow over time. Because I've also worked with people who go from no clients to a shit ton of clients. And that's too much. It's not sustainable. They can't serve them well. They're not enjoying the process. So it's about finding that balance of more than enough clients, but more than enough clients on our own term in a way that feels good to us. That is success. That is the essence of success. So finding that flow, finding that balance, finding that sustainability and that alignment that is going to feel good to us each uniquely. And that's the thing I want to say to you is you have your own unique path. I know it and you know it. And so finding what that looks like and being able to align to that. So know that everything comes whole and complete. All opposites always look to find that balance, that place in the center where it's just right. And that might look different for you than it looks for me or for someone else, but you will know when you have it. It's just right for you. So, and pay attention to the resistance. Pay attention to the resistance you might have of success. So that's what I wanted to say. If any of this resonates with you, if you want to hop on a call with me and chat, this is not a sales call. I'm actually fully booked at this point in my practice, basically. So I'm not looking for more clients, but I love to talk about this stuff. And I love to be available for healers and transformational coaches and light workers, essentially, like wisdom teachers, to find their way into the world in a more powerful way. Why? Because the world needs it. The world needs really good people making an amazing impact, an amazing income, and doing amazing things with their impact and their income. So if that feels exciting to you, if that feels like it speaks to you, then let's hop on a call, let's connect, let's see how we can partner, how we can collaborate, how I can support you in any kind of way, even just in that conversation, to kind of release what's not working for you, release where you're holding yourself back, where you're hiding out, and figure out what your next step is. Figure out like what's your own unique path to more clients, more impact, more joy, more ease in your business, in your life. If that feels good, just put hashtag connect or send me a message on Messenger. I'm super available and I love to chat, as I said. And it was lovely. I had a lot of people live today. I'm going to just check in my personal profile and see if there's anything there. Sharon is there. Thanks, Sharon, for being here as well. Yep, balance and stretching ourselves, pushing the envelope. And thank you for all of you. Kelly, Raylyn, I had a bunch more of you. Angelita, all of you who showed up. And if if you haven't shown up or you haven't said anything, say hi to me. I love to know who's watching. And feel free to ask me any questions, by the way. I always go back to these lives and look at the questions and answer them, or feel free to message me if you have any questions. As I said, I'm super approachable and I love to talk about this stuff. So that is that. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week and weekend. Bye, guys.